Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, coin enthusiasts and treasure hunters. Today we are diving into the exciting world of Jefferson nickels, specifically focusing on the Monticello 5-cent coin series. While most people think of nickels as just everyday pocket change, there are certain editions of the Monticello nickel that are extremely rare and can sell for thousands of dollars in the auction market. In this video, we are going to explore the most valuable top 6 Monticello Jefferson nickels with different mint marks, different conditions, and the incredible collector demand that makes them highly sought after today. So let's get started. First up, we are diving into one of the most talked about and highly demanded coins in American history, the Monticello Jefferson nickel from 1964 with the Denver mint mark, known as the D. This coin, even when found in rusty or damaged condition, holds a special place in the collector's market. Many people overlook coins that appear worn or aged, but the truth is that the 1964 D. Jefferson nickel is a star among 5-cent pieces, and its value in today's auction market continues to surprise collectors and investors alike. To understand why the 1964 D. Jefferson nickel is so important, let's go back into its history. The Jefferson nickel was first introduced in 1938, replacing the Buffalo nickel, and it featured the Monticello home of President Thomas Jefferson on the reverse. By 1964, America was experiencing massive changes, from political shifts to economic expansion, and coin production reflected this busy era. The Denver Mint struck millions of these nickels, yet the ones that survived the decades, even in damaged or corroded form, are now considered historical artifacts that tell a story of resilience and value. The year 1964 also marked the final period before the U.S. Mint removed silver from other circulating coins, making this nickel a companion piece to an era of great transition in American coinage. What makes this coin truly unique are its features. The obverse shows Jefferson facing left with the words, "In God We Trust," and Liberty 1964. The reverse showcases Monticello, Jefferson's Virginia estate, with inscriptions such as E Pluribus Unum, Monticello, 5 cents, and United States of America. The D mint mark is located on the reverse, to the right of Monticello. Some 1964 D nickels are known for double dies and striking errors, which can drastically increase their value. The D mint mark, placed to the right of Monticello, signifies its production in Denver. Collectors cherish this small detail because it gives the coin its identity and separates it from the Philadelphia issues of the same year. Even in a rusty or weathered condition, the sharpness of the design and the story carried by this coin make it stand out in the world of numismatics. The rarity and demand for the 1964 D nickel are remarkable. While millions were minted, very few coins have survived in conditions that spark interest among collectors. Surprisingly, even coins that show rust, damage, or heavy wear are being pursued in the market because of their history and the difficulty of finding authentic examples still circulating. Collectors recognize that a coin does not have to look perfect to carry immense value. Instead, they see character, history, and originality in every dent or corrosion mark. This makes the 1964 D. Jefferson nickel a coin that sparks bidding wars and auctions and maintains a solid presence in collector circles. Let's talk money. In normal circulated condition, a 1964 D. Jefferson nickel is worth about 5 to 15 cents, just a small premium over face value. Even in higher grades, you might see prices ranging from $1 to $10. But here's the twist. Error coins or unusually toned and damaged examples have been known to sell at auction for hundreds of dollars, depending on their uniqueness. A pristine, full-step 1964 D can even fetch $500 or more in top mint state grades, while rusty or corroded examples usually sell on the lower side. Some collectors on eBay and other online marketplaces specifically seek out these relic coins as conversation pieces, sometimes paying $20 to $50 for a coin with dramatic environmental damage. For collectors who are interested in pursuing this rare nickel, a few tips can go a long way. Always look closely at the mint mark, as the D adds substantial value compared to its Philadelphia counterpart. Don't shy away from nickels that show signs of rust or damage, because these coins are still heavily sought after and continue to fetch strong prices. Consider holding onto the coin rather than rushing to sell, since its value has been steadily rising with time and demand. Networking with other collectors, attending coin shows, and keeping an eye on live auction platforms can help you stay ahead of the market and spot the best opportunities. The Monticello 5-cent Jefferson nickel from 1964 with the Denver Mint mark is more than just a coin. It is a symbol of American history, resilience, and collector passion. Whether in pristine condition or showing the scars of time with rust and damage, this coin continues to attract attention and sell for impressive amounts in today's auction market. For anyone holding this treasure, it is not just spare change. It is a piece of numismatic gold in disguise. If you come across a 1964 Jefferson nickel, hold on to it, because its story, uniqueness, and value will continue to grow in the years ahead. Next up too, we are going to explore a fascinating coin from the United States. The 1967 Jefferson nickel, also known as the Monticello 5-cent coin. At first glance, this coin may not look like anything special, especially when found in worn or bad condition. However, there's a lot more to this piece than meets the eye. Its history, unique features, and collector demand have all contributed to some surprising auction results, where even average condition examples can fetch more than expected. So, let's dive into the story behind this coin and see why it has earned attention in the numismatic market. The Jefferson nickel was first introduced in 1938 to replace the Buffalo nickel, and it has been in continuous circulation ever since. Designed by Felix Schlag, the coin features the portrait of Thomas Jefferson on the obverse and his Virginia home, Monticello, on the reverse. By 1967, America was experiencing changes in coinage due to the coin shortage of the mid-1960s, caused by rising silver prices and hoarding of coins. To combat this, the U.S. Mint temporarily suspended mint marks between 1965 and 1967. That's why all nickels struck in 1967 do not carry a mint mark, no matter whether they were produced in Philadelphia, Denver, or San Francisco. This decision makes the 1967 nickel part of a very interesting chapter in U.S. coin history. The 1967 Jefferson nickel carries a simple, yet classic design. On the obverse, Jefferson's profile faces left, with the motto, "In God We Trust," on the left and "Liberty," with the date on the right. On the reverse, we see the iconic image of Monticello, Jefferson's home, with the inscriptions "E Pluribus Unum" on top and "Monticello, 5 cents," and "United States of America" at the bottom. What makes the 1967 nickel unique is not a mint mark or rare error by default, but its place in the no-mint mark era and the fact that many were heavily circulated. Because these coins were mass-produced and widely used, finding a sharp, high-quality example today is difficult, which increases demand for even lower-condition coins. At first, one might assume the 1967 Jefferson nickel is common, as millions were minted. However, the true rarity comes into play when we look at condition. Most 1967 nickels were not saved in uncirculated rolls because the mint was not producing proof or mint sets for collectors that year. Instead, the mint distributed special mint sets, SMS. But even those often lack the sharp strike and clean surfaces that collectors desire. As a result, most coins available today are heavily circulated, scratched, or worn. Surprisingly, this scarcity of high-quality examples has created demand even for bad-condition nickels, particularly if they have strong eye appeal, unusual toning, or slight die errors. Collectors who specialize in Jefferson nickels or want to complete a date set still seek out this coin, no matter the grade. When it comes to value, the 1967 Jefferson nickel in bad condition typically trades close to face value in everyday circulation. However, the collector market can surprise you. Even coins in worn condition have been known to sell for a few dollars online when bundled with other Jefferson nickels or offered to collectors trying to fill gaps in their collections. At auction, circulated examples with interesting features such as die cracks, doubling, or unique color toning have sometimes brought in $20 to $50. Meanwhile, high-grade examples, even from special mint sets, can sell for hundreds or even thousands of dollars, depending on certification and strike quality. This shows that while a heavily worn 1967 nickel may not seem valuable at first, it can still hold hidden potential for the right buyer. If you happen to find a 1967 Jefferson nickel, don't toss it aside. First, Check for signs of errors such as doubling, off-center strikes, or die breaks. Even a coin in bad condition can be worth far more if it carries a rare minting flaw. Second, consider holding onto circulated examples as part of a complete Jefferson nickel collection. Many collectors prefer owning every year of issue, and 1967 is a key date because of its historical context. Lastly, if you have a higher quality example, consider sending it for grading by a professional service, since the top-graded coins from this year have proven to bring strong prices at auction. The 1967 Jefferson nickel may seem like just another worn coin at first glance, but its story is what makes it so fascinating. Struck during a unique time in U.S. minting history, lacking a mint mark and often found in poor condition, it represents both scarcity and opportunity. While a bad condition example might only fetch a few dollars, its true value lies in its place within American coinage history and the demand it continues to see among collectors. So, the next time you come across a 1967 nickel, take a closer look. It might just be worth more than you think. Next up, we are diving into the fascinating world of Jefferson nickels. Specifically, we'll be focusing on the 1953 Jefferson nickel without a mint mark, a coin that, at first glance, may seem like just another common piece of change, but in reality, has a story worth exploring. While many of these coins are found in circulated condition, certain rare examples have caught the attention of collectors, selling for big dollars at auctions. So, let's uncover the history, features, rarity, and true market value of the 1953 no-mint mark Jefferson nickel. The Jefferson nickel was first introduced in 1938, replacing the Buffalo nickel. Designed by Felix Schlag, it features a portrait of Thomas Jefferson on the obverse and his Virginia estate, Monticello, on the reverse. By 1953, the coin had already become a staple in American pocket change. The no-mint mark version of the 1953 nickel was produced at the Philadelphia Mint. That year, over 46 million nickels rolled out of Philadelphia, which may sound like a large number, but time, circulation, and attrition have made high-quality surviving examples much harder to find today. The 1953 no-mint mark Jefferson nickel carries the same iconic design that collectors admire. On the obverse, we see Jefferson's left-facing profile, with the words "In God We Trust" and "Liberty" inscribed alongside the year 1953. On the reverse, the Monticello building stands tall with the inscriptions "E Pluribus Unum, United States of America," and 5 cents. One distinguishing feature to note is the absence of a mint mark under Monticello, which confirms it was minted in Philadelphia. While many of these coins exist in worn, circulated condition, coins with strong strikes and minimal wear are especially prized. When it comes to rarity, the 1953 no-mint mark nickel isn't rare in absolute numbers. Millions were minted, and many still survive in circulation. However, the scarcity lies in condition. Most of these coins were heavily used in everyday transactions, leaving very few in higher grades with sharp details and clean surfaces. Collectors are particularly interested in coins that have survived in near-mint or uncirculated condition, as well as those with unique die varieties such as doubling or errors. Even circulated examples, if well-preserved, attract attention due to the coin's age and history. So, what is the 1953 no-mint mark Jefferson nickel worth today in lower circulated grades? Its value typically ranges from 10 cents to $1.50, which is above face value but still modest. However, as the condition improves, the price increases significantly. In higher grades like Mint State 65 or better, these nickels can fetch anywhere between $50 and $150. The real excitement, though, comes at auctions. A top-quality 1953 no-mint mark Jefferson nickel, certified in superb gem condition, has sold for well over $1,000. This shows just how much collectors are willing to pay for the finest surviving examples of what seems to be a common coin. If you're hoping to add a 1953 no-mint mark Jefferson nickel to your collection, there are a few tips to keep in mind. First, always check the coin's condition carefully. Sharp details on Jefferson's hair and the Monticello steps can add tremendous value. Second, consider having higher quality coins graded by a professional service to authenticate their condition and increase their marketability. Third, keep an eye out for errors or die varieties, as these can turn an ordinary coin into a rare collectible worth hundreds. And finally, be patient. While circulated examples are relatively easy to find, top-grade pieces may require time and persistence to locate. The 1953 no-mint mark Jefferson nickel is a perfect example of how a simple coin from everyday circulation can hold historical significance and hidden value. While millions were minted, the real treasures are the few that have survived in pristine condition, commanding big dollars at auction. For collectors, this nickel represents both a piece of American history and a potential investment opportunity. So, the next time you come across an old Jefferson nickel, take a closer look. It just might be worth far more than 5 cents. Next up, we're diving into one of the most fascinating and highly sought-after coins from American history. The 1964 Jefferson nickel without a mint mark. At first glance, it may just look like a common 5-cent coin, especially when found in circulated, worn, or even yellow rusty condition. But appearances can be deceiving. This coin carries a surprising story of history, rarity, and value that has captured the attention of collectors worldwide. Stay tuned, because you might just have one of these treasures hiding in your pocket change or old coin jar. The Jefferson nickel series began in 1938, replacing the Buffalo nickel. It featured President Thomas Jefferson on the obverse and his Monticello home on the reverse. By 1964, the United States Mint was under heavy pressure to produce massive quantities of coins due to a nationwide coin shortage. To keep up with demand, the Philadelphia Mint produced billions of nickels that year. However, despite this large production, some of the coins without a mint mark ended up becoming collectible due to specific conditions, striking details, and their survival in unusual states such as rusty or discolored circulation pieces. The 1964 nickel also represents the final year that coins were struck with high-quality detail before the mint switched to lower relief designs in 1965 to extend die life. This makes certain 1964 issues, especially without mint marks, more interesting to collectors. The 1964 Jefferson nickel without mint mark has some distinct features. On the front, or obverse, you'll see a left-facing portrait of Jefferson with the motto, "In God We Trust," and the word liberty, accompanied by the date. On the back, the coin proudly displays Jefferson's Virginia home, Monticello, with the inscriptions E Pluribus Unum, United States of America, and 5 cents. What makes circulated examples in yellow rusty condition stand out is their unique patina. Over decades, exposure to moisture, air, and improper storage can give these coins a distinctive golden or rusty coloration. While some collectors prefer brilliant uncirculated examples, many still appreciate these aged and circulated coins for their raw character and originality. Now you might wonder, if billions were minted, why is the 1964 Jefferson nickel without mint mark considered rare? The answer lies in condition, survival rate, and errors. Most of these coins were heavily used in circulation, and only a fraction survived in collectible states. Circulated and rusty examples are far less desirable in comparison to high-grade mint state nickels, but they still hold historical value and can attract interest if they show strong details, full steps on Monticello, or unusual toning. Collectors are particularly on the lookout for errors and varieties, such as double dies, off-center strikes, or full-step designations. These rare attributes push the value of an otherwise common-looking nickel into the hundreds or even thousands of dollars range. In circulated yellow rusty condition, a standard 1964 Jefferson nickel without mint mark generally has modest value, often 10 to 50 cents, depending on eye appeal. However, rare varieties and coins in high grades can fetch much more. For example, a 1964 nickel with full steps in pristine mint state condition has sold for over $14,000 at auction. Even without full steps, higher-end uncirculated nickels can bring hundreds of dollars. So while your circulated yellow rusty nickel may not reach those heights, it still holds value as part of the historical legacy of Jefferson nickels, and who knows, it could lead you to searching for the rare, high-dollar examples. If you own or come across a 1964 Jefferson nickel without mint mark, here are some tips. Look for full steps on Monticello or possible error varieties. Cleaning can reduce collector value. Instead, keep the coin in its natural state. Banks and coin shops sometimes still have rolls of nickels that can contain valuable 1964 issues. If you believe your coin is in unusually high condition, professional grading can significantly increase its market value. To prevent further rust or discoloration, use coin holders or flips to protect them. The 1964 Jefferson nickel without mint mark may seem ordinary, especially when worn and rusty, but it carries with it a remarkable story of American history, minting practices, and collector passion. While most circulated examples won't bring in thousands of dollars, their role in the nickel series makes them a must-have for any serious collection. And with rare varieties fetching big money at auction, it's always worth taking a closer look at the nickels in your pocket change. Next up, we're diving into the world of Jefferson nickels, focusing on one particular coin that continues to spark curiosity among collectors. The 1963 Monticello 5-cent Jefferson nickel. While at first glance this may seem like just another old nickel, its historical background, unique features, and collector demand make it stand out. Even in circulated and rusty condition, certain examples of this coin can fetch surprising values in the market. So, let's explore why this coin is worth paying attention to. The Jefferson nickel was first introduced in 1938, replacing the beloved Buffalo nickel. Designed by Felix Schlag, the coin honors Thomas Jefferson, the third president of the United States, with his portrait on the obverse and his home, Monticello, displayed on the reverse. The Denver Mint struck the 1963 nickel in large numbers, over 276 million pieces, making it one of the more common issues in the series. However, as with many coins, not all were created equal. Variations in strike quality, preservation, and long-term survival have made some 1963 nickels much more desirable to collectors than others. The obverse side of the 1963 nickel shows a left-facing bust of Jefferson, inscribed with "In God We Trust, Liberty," and the date, 1963. Just to the right of the date, you'll find the small D mint mark, indicating that the coin was produced at the Denver Mint. On the reverse, Monticello is centered, with inscriptions reading E Pluribus Unum, Monticello, 5 cents, and United States of America. Coins struck in this era are known for sometimes weak strikes, especially around Jefferson's hair detail and the steps of Monticello, making fully struck examples more collectible. Now, here's where things get interesting. Although the 1963 nickel was produced in huge numbers, finding one in pristine, uncirculated condition is a real challenge. Most coins entered circulation quickly and were heavily used in everyday transactions. Over time, many developed wear, discoloration, or even rust due to poor storage conditions. While circulated and rusty coins are generally less valuable than mint state examples, collectors often pay attention to step detail on Monticello, unique die varieties, and errors. Coins with full steps are significantly rarer and can bring in much higher premiums at auction. So, what about value? A heavily circulated and rusty 1963 nickel typically holds only a small premium above face value, often ranging from 10 cents to a couple of dollars, depending on overall condition and eye appeal. However, higher-grade examples can be worth much more. In circulated grades, a clean and attractive coin may sell for $5 to $20, while uncirculated coins in mint state with strong detail can fetch $50 to $200. The real market excitement comes from those rare, full-step nickels. Certified high-grade full-step examples have been auctioned for $2,000 to over $5,000, making them highly prized among Jefferson nickel specialists. If you happen to come across a 1963 Jefferson nickel, even in rusty or circulated condition, don't dismiss it right away. Examine it closely for unique features such as die cracks, doubled dies, or strong Monticello steps. If the coin is rusty, consider gentle conservation but never harsh cleaning, as that can permanently reduce its value. For serious collectors, submitting potential high-grade examples for professional grading can maximize returns at auction. And always remember, nickels from the 1960s are still an accessible entry point for new collectors, making them a great way to start building a collection without breaking the bank. The 1963 Monticello Jefferson nickel may not seem like a treasure at first glance, especially in circulated or rusty condition, but its place in U.S. coinage history and the collector market make it worthy of attention. While most are common, those rare high-quality examples can bring impressive value in today's auctions. Whether you're just starting out or you've been collecting for years, keeping an eye out for unique details on coins like this can lead to surprising discoveries and even a profitable investment. Next up, we're diving into the fascinating world of Jefferson nickels, focusing on one particular coin that has been sparking interest among collectors. The 1960 Jefferson nickel with the D mint mark struck in Denver. Even when found in circulated, dirty, and worn condition, this coin carries a unique story, and in certain cases, its rarity has driven up auction values into the hundreds and even thousands of dollars. So let's explore why this 5-cent piece deserves a closer look. The Jefferson nickel was first introduced in 1938, replacing the Buffalo nickel. Designed by Felix Schlag, the coin prominently features a portrait of President Thomas Jefferson on the obverse and his historic Monticello home on the reverse. By 1960, the Jefferson nickel had already been in production for over 2 decades, and while billions were struck, coins with particular mint marks, conditions, and striking errors have become highly desirable. The Denver Mint, marked with the D mint mark, was responsible for producing the majority of Jefferson nickels that year. The 1960 D Jefferson nickel carries a few features that set it apart from the ordinary change rattling in your pocket. On the front, Jefferson's profile is crisp, facing left, with the inscriptions "In God We Trust" and "Liberty 1960." On the back, Monticello stands as the central design, accompanied by the words "E pluribus unum, Monticello, 5 cents, and United States of America." The small D mint mark is found to the right of Monticello. While the design is standard, certain errors, such as double dies, repunched mint marks, and unusually strong strikes, make some examples especially collectible. Now, you might be wondering if the Denver Mint produced over 192 million of these nickels in 1960, why are they considered rare? The truth is, while most 1960 D nickels are common in worn condition, the rarity lies in high-grade examples and error coins. Most circulated coins look dirty, dull, and heavily worn, making pristine survivors much harder to find. Collectors chase after examples with sharp details, full steps on Monticello, or coins with unique minting errors. This creates a situation where the average 1960 D nickel is worth only face value, but select pieces can skyrocket in demand. So what is a circulated, dirty condition 1960 D nickel worth today? In most cases, these coins are valued at just 5 to 20 cents, slightly more than face value due to their age. However, when we talk about rare variations or coins that grade exceptionally well, the story changes dramatically. Auction records show that 1960 D nickels with full steps on Monticello in mint state grades have sold for anywhere between $500 and over $3,000, depending on condition and certification. Meanwhile, error coins with double dies or repunched mint marks can fetch hundreds of dollars. This wide range shows just how important condition and rarity are in the world of coin collecting. If you're interested in searching for valuable 1960 D Jefferson nickels, here are a few tips. First, always check for the condition of the Monticello steps on the reverse clear. Complete steps dramatically increase the coin's value. Second, keep an eye out for minting errors such as off-centers, double dies, or misplaced mint marks. Third, don't dismiss circulated or dirty coins right away. Sometimes, hidden rarities lie beneath years of grime. Finally, if you believe you have a high-quality or error coin, consider getting it graded by a professional service like PCGS or NGC to maximize its market potential. The 1960 D Jefferson nickel might look like an ordinary 5-cent piece at first glance, especially in circulated and dirty condition. But within this year and mint mark lies a world of rarity, history, and potential value. While most examples are only worth a few cents, rare high-grade or error coins have been known to bring in thousands of dollars at auction. So, the next time you're sifting through your change or coin collection, be sure to take a closer look. You might just be holding onto a small piece of history worth far more than 5 cents. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the world of nickels, make sure to like, share, and subscribe for more videos on rare and valuable coins.